We've been focusing a whole lot on enzymes in previous videos, and we've been answering questions and saying really what enzymes are. And in this video, we're really going to build up on that. And by building up, what I'm really trying to say is we're going to really dive deeper into the types of enzymes. So I have a graph over here. I have the digestive system over here. This is the whole digestive system. And what I really want to discuss is the three types of enzymes. Obviously, there are many, but three very important, probably most important types of enzymes. So the first one is in the mouth. So we see here, this is the mouth. It labels it for us here. This is the mouth. And the mouth is over here. We have the teeth, which is over here, the tongue, this pink one, the uvula, which is this part over here, and the palate. And so in the mouth, there's these specific types of enzymes called amylase. So in the mouth, there are enzymes called amylase. And so what do these things do? Well, amylase, specifically salivary amylase, its function really is to break starch, which is a carbohydrate, into smaller sugars like maltose. So it breaks it down, starch down into smaller sugars, and we call these smaller sugars, they're also called simple sugars. And an example of simple sugar is maltose. That's one of the simple sugars when starch is broken down from amylase. And so all this happens in the mouth, and it's really made in the salivary glands in the mouth. So, like you can imagine, starch is really like a carbohydrate. So starch, this is a carbohydrate. And so a carbohydrate, I'm thinking, well, let's say bread. So bread is a carbohydrate. So if I like put a loaf of bread in here, right? Or like rice. If I put bread or rice in the mouth, it's gonna chew on that, and it's from the saliva. The saliva contains this amylase, which is an enzyme that breaks the starch, this loaf of bread I have over here, down into smaller, simple sugars. And it really just breaks it down into maltose. So that's a specific enzyme called amylase in the mouth. Now let's dive into another type of enzyme that happens in the stomach. So obviously now it's going down here, and so now we're looking at the stomach. So it's this whole orange thing is the stomach. So in the stomach, there's an enzyme called pepsin. In the stomach, there's an enzyme called pepsin. There's another specific enzyme. And it breaks down only specific things, and we call these things that the pepsin breaks down proteins. And so pepsin breaks down, breaks proteins down. And they break proteins down into smaller peptides. And we usually call these smaller peptides amino acids. And so it's made in the stomach lining, and the pepsinogen is activated to pepsin by stomach acid. So and we can imagine this if we digested a chicken leg or say an egg, right? What it does, it goes through the mouth, down the esophagus, and then it obviously goes into the stomach after a little bit. And once it gets into the stomach, the pepsin sees this because the chicken or the egg, that's made of proteins. So then the pepsin, which is in the stomach, this pepsin is an enzyme specific to breaking down proteins. And we talked about how enzymes actually break down things and they speed up reactions. So this pepsin that's in the stomach, it breaks down the chicken or this protein or this egg that's in the stomach. And so it's very interesting and very important that we have these enzymes to break down proteins, or we really can't use this energy for life processes. And finally, the last enzyme I really want to talk about is in the small intestine. And so we have the small intestine right over here. Small intestine is right over here. And so in the small intestine, there's an enzyme called lipase. So in the small intestine, there's an enzyme called lipase. And so lipase, another specific enzyme, breaks down fats like lipids. So it breaks down fats like lipids into fatty acids and glycerol. And so you could think of like your fats as like your cooking oil. So it's made in the pancreas. So we got the pancreas right over here. And it is released into the small intestine afterwards. And so what happens is you like I don't know, like you drink a bottle of cooking oil, even though that doesn't sound right. I mean, I guess you could put cooking oil in your food. When you eat that cooking oil or you drink that cooking oil, that is all made up of fats and lipids. So the lipase acts on it. The lipase, which is in the pancreas, that is released into the small intestine, it breaks down those fats into fatty acids and glycerol. And one more thing I should mention before this video ends, is that each area of this digestive system of this body, like each like the mouth and the stomach and the small intestine and the pancreas, they all have different pH levels. And so when those pH levels are altered for any kind of reason, the enzymes don't really work. So the amylase really functions at a specific pH and a specific temperature. If the pH and temperature are altered in the mouth, then the amylase will denature and they will not be able to function with the starch, for example. And that goes for pepsin, breaking down proteins, and the lipase breaking down fats, lipids.